Hey, welcome back to the NorthWoods Church Matters podcast. I'm here with our lead pastor, Bobby Pell, and we're going to talk all things building today.
Preach.
We want to let you know that we are excited.
We are.
We are excited.
That's right.
So the big headline of this week is...
Yeah, we're going to build.
Woo!
Yes.
Yay.
Come on, baby.
Yeah. So wherever you are, clap it up.
Clap.
Let's do a clap.
Yeah, put your hands on the steering wheel, clap. Put
Yeah.
your hands on the steering wheel, clap. That's
Yeah.
right.
Could you dive into the numbers just a little bit in terms of, I think people that haven't been involved as much with the building campaign don't really know the numbers as much. And
Yeah, and this will bore some of you to death if you hate numbers, and if you love numbers.
this is the week for you.
This is the moment for you.
Woo!
All right, initially this was a $3.5 million project. Our church voted to spend $200,000 for the purpose of expanding our parking lot.
Yeah.
And that took it down from 3.5 to 3.3. We took the $200,000 out of our general fund. So
We already had that money in the bank.
that's right. That money was in the bank. Our elders have been trying to stay away from generational debt. To do that, we believed that our maximum debt should be $1.5 million. Well, if you take $1.5 million off of 3.3, you're at 1.8. We needed to raise $1.8 million. So keep that $1.8 million in your head. Now, here's another number. 10% of everything given goes to missions. We had a little more than $1.7 million given. That you took the 10% off, and I believe that it was like $171,000 that went to missions out of the Build, Grow, Send campaign. And so we will not be having a missions offering for the next 3 years. That's our missions offering for the next 3 years.
But we're going to talk about missions all the time
We'll
to
talk about
remind you.
missions. That's right. There'll be, Lord willing, a faithful, regular conversation about all the things that NorthWoods is doing with its missions offerings. But what that did as well is it took our total amount going to the building down to 1.53. We had some people who chose to give and asked to give with the request that all of the money would go to the building. They were supporting missions in other ways, and we honored that request. Those folks, their offerings have taken our total to 1.8.
Yeah.
And because we are now at 1.8, our elders met and we determined as a group, yes, we need to move forward.
Yeah. Good.
And so we're excited about this. We believe that there'll still be more pledges come in, but we're excited about what God's doing. From a materials perspective, buildings are only going to get more expensive to build.
Yeah.
Okay. So the fact that the Lord has worked in and through our people to raise this amount of money, I'll be honest, I didn't necessarily see this coming. This is exciting.
Yeah. It's a good moment for NorthWoods.
It is. We've said all along, buildings are not the reason why we do ministry. No pastor enters the ministry to say, I would like to be a construction worker. I didn't do this to be an architect. But yet buildings are a necessity for how we do ministry here in the United States. We do this by having a place to come and gather to worship. And you use that place of worship to the best that you can. And I believe we've done that with this facility.
Yeah.
This podcast room is literally in the closet
Where we have all the kids' supplies.
where we have the kids' supplies.
Yeah.
And that's not a complaint. I just say we have used our facility to the very best we can use it.
And people need to know that with staff, we don't sit around and complain about the space.
No,
I mean, it's
no.
just, we never have that
No.
discussion. Our discussion is constantly thinking around corners. How can we use the space to the best of its ability?
That's right.
And so we have to get creative with things like VBS. We have all the rotations and things like that. In Awana, we have lots of rotations and people flexing the space. And that's just how we operate.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we would say that one of our core values is ministry flexibility.
Yeah.
And part of that's because we've done a good job, I believe, of all of the different ministries working together, using the facility God has given us for the purpose of doing ministry, making disciples. I think that NorthWoods should be honored for the way that we've handled the facility that we have. I do believe a new facility is going to create opportunities that we haven't had. We're going to be able to think about and dream about what will it look like to utilize our current worship space for the purpose of ministry, really 7 days a week.
Yeah.
That'll be an enjoyable dream moment because we've really not had that as an option.
Yeah, but Gary Green might live to see the day where we play an actual volleyball game or basketball game in the gym.
Matt, don't count your chickens before that. Okay, but
don't get Gary too excited here.
Calm down.
Go slow. Go slow. So I think you've already answered this, but if somebody hasn't pledged yet or family hasn't pledged yet, can they still do that? How long can they do that?
Yeah, you certainly can, and we would encourage you to. I believe that there are some people who weren't going to turn in a pledge until they found out if we were going to build.
Right.
And that's not totally unreasonable. I fully understand the logic behind that. The text number in our church that's used every week is 812-214-1987. And you can text to 812-214-1987, build, grow, send without any spaces.
Or periods.
Or period.
Yeah.
That's right. And you can, at that point, you'll have the opportunity to fill out a pledge card, or you can get one here at church.
Yeah.
And just turn it in. It goes directly to our financial secretary. She's the one who handles all of that. And we encourage the body to participate. You're pledging something above and beyond your tithe. And this is a moment of some sacrificial giving. It's 3 years, or you can just give a one-time offering if you so chose. But most people probably are doing an offering over 3
time.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point in time, the pledge cards are really between you and the Lord.
That's
like
right.
if you want to honor the Lord by saying and committing that this is what I'm going to do to honor the Lord in my giving, that's great. We would love to know that what your commitment is. But if you just want to start giving too, that's fantastic as well.
Yeah, that's right. The benefit for a pledge card for us is, and people may or may not understand this, but when we get a loan, the banks want to know what are the pledges.
Right.
Okay. And they want to know that we've gone through this process. It will have an impact. That's a benefit for us that we've gone through this. We're going to be able to answer questions from the banks concerning it. I believe that they'll be encouraged by the congregation's response. But you're 100% correct. In the end, it is a pledge card not between you and a bank, nor is it really a pledge card between you and NorthWoods Church. That is something that you're trying to honor. It's really between you and God.
Yeah.
And we would encourage you to just be faithful to whatever decision you and the Lord come up with.
Yeah. So when can people start giving? Is there a magic date?
Yeah, now, to be honest, some people I know have started giving. I think technically the dates that came out from the Build, Grow, Send campaign, the first Sunday of December was considered the first date for you to consider to start giving. And so we would just encourage you to go ahead and start honoring your giving and then go forward from there.
Yeah. So how can people give?
You can give online, and you have the ability through online to separate your tithes from your Build, Grow, Send building fund. And so just separate it out. If you give here through a check that you put in the offering box, if you have an envelope, you can separate it on the envelope. If you just put the check in, separate it on the memo line.
Yeah.
You don't have to write 2 checks. You can put it in one check. Just somewhere on there, communicate on the memo what you want to go where.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing our financial secretary has asked so far is that if you're going to give to the building fund or the general fund, whichever fund that you're going to give to, just let us know.
That's right.
Don't assume that we know what you're giving to. That's helpful to us.
Yeah, that's right. A check that is written to NorthWoods Church without any notice of anything else just goes to the general fund. So if you're wanting some money to go to the Build, Grow, Send building campaign, then you need to tell us.
Yeah.
And we're excited about that.
Yeah.
You tell us we can do that. We can do that with one check. We can do that online, however way it is that you choose to give.
Yeah. So just to let people know how church finances work, when we talk about the general fund, think about your normal checking account.
That's right.
It's just the basic checking account for the church. It goes towards just the regular budget. It isn't specified for any particular reason, but there's also what we call designated accounts, which are accounts which are designated for a specific purpose. And we have a building fund, which is a designated account that the only thing we can do with that account is spend for the building.
That's correct.
And we have a missions account, which is a designated account. And the only thing that comes out of that particular account is missions.
That's right.
And so when we talk about church finances, that's really what we're talking about.
Yeah, and you use a great illustration because personal finances are oftentimes the same way.
Yeah.
We have a general fund in a lot of homes that pay for your bills. And then some of us set aside monies for trips.
Yeah.
Or you set aside monies for a specific purpose. And this is very similar to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just need to tell us, and then we will do what you tell us.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add on that?
Yeah. I would just say a couple of things. One is that some folks have asked, when could we potentially expect things to happen concerning the building process? And I guess as a part of the answer to that, let me also address the parking lot. The parking lot is a situation where we're in the process of getting all of our permits finished, and our hope on the parking lot is that it's in by Easter, which is actually early this year because Easter is the last weekend of March.
Mm-hmm.
Then the building, we're hoping that you're going to see things happening by May. We were talking about this in staff meeting just yesterday. That probably means that we will have a ceremony, if you would, a breaking ground ceremony sometime in March or April. I'm going to guess April.
Break out the gold shovels.
Break out the gold shovel, but I doubt it'll probably be gold.
Probably not. No. Unless Tim's got one
That's
that's in his closet somewhere.
That's exactly right. Yeah. This will definitely be just throw over some dirt.
It might be the shovel from your garage.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So I do think that'll be a historic moment for our church on this property. To be honest, this will be the likelihood this will be the last building we're going to be building here.
Yeah.
And I would encourage you to be thinking about when that time comes that you'd come out, you'd pray. It will not be lengthy. Literally, we're going to pray over what's going to happen over the next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
Then go forward from there.
Yeah. The only way we're going to build more on this property is if we fill in a lake.
That's
and
exactly
then there's
right.
going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
That's exactly right, too. And so I would just say keep those things in mind over the next couple of months that as we move forward. I am pleased that we have come to where we are because construction costs are going up at such a fast pace.
Yeah.
That the likelihood of us being able to build 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now would be much more difficult. And so I'm very grateful for how the church has responded. These are going to be interesting days ahead. Let's keep our eyes not on a building. Let's keep our eyes on Christ, and let's build one another up.
Yeah. I think one thing to, as we move forward, just to ask is who's going to be project managers on the project? Are people going to come to you or me or Darren or another pastor in charge of the project?
Yeah. And I would just say people are going to be sorely disappointed in their ability to gain information from me.
Yeah. Me too.
I really plan on being in a situation where I continue to do the things that have helped the church the most.
Right.
And that is not building a building. Midwest Construction, and which is Tim's company, Tim Cook's company, will be heading up the building, but they're going to be doing a lot of subcontracting on that. Brian Dempsey and Darren will also be assisting in really representing the church as that process happens. I have a lot of trust in Midwest and Tim, and I'm grateful for how they have treated our church in the past, and I'm grateful that they're able to help us move forward. I would quickly say be praying for Tim's health.
Yeah.
I know that as this is being recorded, Tim is at Mayo being looked at for potential lung transplant. I would just say be praying for Tim.
Yeah, for sure. Pray for him during the season of the year where germs and
That's right.
yucky stuff's going around because he's
right.
very susceptible to that stuff right now.
That's right. These are exciting days. I look forward to seeing what's about to happen.
Amen to that. All right. You have permission to be excited. See you later, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the NorthWoods Church Matters podcast. If you'd like to find out more about NorthWoods Church, you can visit us at our website, www.northwoodschurch.org. Again, that's www.northwoodschurch.org.